Well, we're back again with another no fluff analysis, and this time I'll be going over the Windswept Warriors Summon Showcase. This Summon Showcase is going to be running from the 31st of August until the 12th of September. Let's get straight to it then. The first adventurer we see added in this showcase is the 5-star Windblade Victor, the Vengeful Commander. Victor's first skill is Steel Formation, which deals wind damage to a target and nearby enemies, inflicting bleed. Steel Formation also has Skill Shift, with Phase 2 giving the team 3% water resist for 20 seconds, and Phase 3 grants the team a shield for 20% of Victor's hit points. Victor's second skill is Lethal Stratagem. It deals wind damage to a target and nearby enemies, and also grants your team knockback immunity for 15 seconds. Being a blade unit, Victor grants up to 10% strength as his co-ability. He also gains an extra 13% strength when his hit points are above 70%, has 100% bog resist, and also buff time plus 30%. Overall, bog resist points Victor towards being a replacement for Addis in high mercury runs. Victor's ability to grant knockback immunity also makes him a good pick for the current Skyborn Spectacle event revival. The raid boss, Fluff, has a single attack which has a large amount of knockback. The ability to negate this knockback effect will enable your team to maintain more uptime on the boss, thus dealing more DPS over the course of the fight. However, I do believe that Victor's main claim to fame is Steel Formation, his skill 1. It has a slightly higher SP cost than Ieyasu's skill 1, Sakura Flurry, but the ability to inflict bleed is an absolutely huge bonus to Victor's ability to deal damage. However, I would have preferred if Victor's Phase 2 for Steel Formation granted a defense buff rather than water resist, because that way he would also trigger defense double buff abilities. But alas, we can't all have nice things. Anyway, moving on to the hidden star of this summon showcase, we have the 4-star Wind Wand, Noelle, the Meek Messenger. Her skill 1, Best Regards, grants a 25% strength buff to wind adventurers on your team for 15 seconds. Noelle's second skill, Sincerely Yours, is a simple nuke, dealing wind damage to enemies ahead. Being a wand unit, Noelle's co-ability grants the rest of her team up to 15% skill damage. In terms of other abilities, Noelle has buff time plus 25%, full bog resist, and prime defense, which grants the adventurer you're controlling 8% defense for 10 seconds when Noelle's skill 1, Best Regards, becomes ready for use. This effect has a 15-second cooldown. Noelle's overall ability set will point her towards all sorts of content. Having a skill 1 granting a 25% strength buff is absolutely huge, and are both reasons why Elizant and Gala Cleo are so highly regarded. I think this means that Noelle will end up becoming a highly sought after adventurer to use in all sorts of content, including Mercurial Gauntlet. Could you imagine a team with, say, Addis, Melody, Noelle, and then, Gala Cleo for the 25% strength buff? I think that would end up really weird and would probably highlight how broken strength buffs are in general. Overall, I think Noelle is probably the unit to be pulling for in this summon showcase, but hey, there's still a bit more to be talking about. Next up, we have the 5-star Wind Dragon Vayu, granting 20% strength and 90% skill damage at maximum unbind. Vayu's skill is Purusha Prana, dealing wind damage to enemies in a line, and it also increases the damage dealt by the user's next skill by 40%. So much like Konohana Sakiya. This means that Vayu is ending up as the new best dragon for any adventurers who deal the majority of their damage through skills, which is actually the majority of wind adventurers, barring poison inflicting adventurers who do a bit better with Pazuzu instead. And while not strictly part of the summon showcase, I'm going to be talking about the Wyrmprints added with the latest update. The first one we see is the 5-star print Twinfold Bonds. It grants dagger units plus 40% skill damage, and then for all other units it also grants flurry strength plus 15%, which is plus 15% strength when your combo count is 15 or higher. I think this has ended up as a new best in slot print for daggers, and also the refined vestige. You get to see Alex without her hood, and she and Elizant are also holding hands. Okay, well that's enough fluff for now. The next print we have is the 4-star print Hastened Squall, granting dragon damage plus 10%, and wind units also get critical damage plus 15%. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this print. Just strict dragon damage is an effect that we don't see very often with Wyrmprints. And then the blue-blue simulator also doesn't really consider dragon mode because it's mostly independent of adventurers. Although there are a handful of adventurers who have skills/abilities that interact with dragons and dragon gauge. Also featured content on this showcase are the 5-star Wind Axe, Lin Yu, and the 4-star Wind Lance, Pia. I find Pia a bit of an odd choice, considering that it would probably make sense to bring Kuhai back for the event revival, but hey, Cygames isn't always predictable. Anyway, for my overall opinion on this showcase, I'd definitely say that Noelle is probably the star of this showcase. Being a 4-star unit, she's much easier to pull for than a 5-star one, and the 25% strength buff will make her universally good in any wind team. To the point where I think that people might even bring Noelle to content that inflicts freeze. And I suppose in the end, as long as you can dodge all attacks, the status effect that gets inflicted upon you doesn't really matter, right? As long as you don't get hit. And then I suppose if anyone's struggling with Mercurial Gauntlet and wants to maybe push Water Mercurial Gauntlet just a bit further, then I think Noelle might be a good pull and worth a few 10 pulls. As for Victor, well, we have a new unit inflicting bleed. If you don't have Addis, then Victor's a good unit to pick up. And then Vayu. Vayu grants skill damage, and obviously the skill damage dragons have all been really good so far. In the end though, I'm personally holding out for the anniversary, and well, hopefully there's going to be some sort of rate up or sparking or whatever people talk about from Grand Blue Fantasy. I don't know, I never played that game, but no, people seem to talk highly of it. Anyway, in the end, thank you all very much for watching, and I wish you luck in your upcoming pulls. A bit better than mine at any rate.